This country has some of the best educated women in the whole of Africa. And yet this country has the fewest number of women in positions of leadership. And I think Kenya has suffered, Bwana Nyachae, mainly because the status quo has refused to let good women join in, not just the politics, but also the institutions that make policies for Kenyans. Give women the opportunity like the new constitution has done, and in the next 5 years, Kenya will see a very big difference.
I really didn't click this until last week when we have to now seek an amendment to a bill, an act, because we could not meet the requirements. So in the last few weeks, we in the Committee on Implementation have declared this a key impediment to the implementation of the Constitution. The gender challenge as a key impediment to the implementation of the Constitution. I didn't see this until the other day. I was talking to my wife and I was wondering, you have done an advert. You expect qualified women to apply. Why in God's name don't they apply? And he said, you know, why waste time when you're not going to get the job? Why waste that time and energy when you know very well, and the track record is there for the last 40 years, how many of those jobs went to women? And you really need to bring that home. It is not as open or clear as you think it is. To his credit, the Minister for Justice strongly argued against that policy. But we did pass, as a committee, that we should really bring them to have one commission. I have since seen the light. Especially on the issue of gender, because I honestly believe it requires dedicated and focused attention. And I know the CIC and other organs are going to discuss on Friday on this matter of whether to have 3, and I'm sorry I'm jumping the gun on this, because as late as 4 or 5 weeks ago, we in the committee had decided you can have one institution that deals with all this. But after the fiasco of the panel that was supposed to do the vetting of the judges, I think it's very critical that we have an institution dedicated to serve women. Probably what I would add is, instead of having 3 bills and 3 acts, have one act that deals with all of them, so that we don't waste, we don't triplicate the amount of time that they have to go through Parliament. But I think we need to have the Gender Commission on its own because of the crisis we are facing on this matter.
Those of us who think that you can continue doing business as usual, you are in for a rude shock. You will be carried away by a tsunami. Because the fact of the matter is, I'm happy to say, Honorable Chair of Oversight, Honorable Chair of CIC, that yesterday I released to the Cabinet Office the bill on the establishment of the Supreme Court. And I'm hoping that the Cabinet will deal with it quickly, then I bring it to Parliament. I hope by then we will have sorted out the parliamentary committee's issues so that we can establish this court for purposes of ensuring that these rights are protected.
As we are looking and moving on in this era, the new era, the new constitution, we are hoping that the women should have stopped being shy within the first 1 month, and by now should have caught up with the steam which is there. We don't want to be left out by the train which is moving, and we'd want to see women. And indeed, we have women who are so qualified for the jobs which have been advertised. And yet, as my colleague, Honorable Mutula, has said, it's not him alone, but everybody is shocked that women were so scared of applying for the Chief Justice job, and there was an opportunity which was presented. Most of them ran for the deputy, and I do remember at the beginning, people rushed to court to complain. Women had not been given their fair share. Although the first round failed, but even now, when the women are left out, again, who do we have to blame?
Do not assume that it's every woman who had the fear of the top post. There are several considerations people take, and women by nature are more cautious about hierarchy, seniority, about that position, because it's the topmost, if you've not done a number of years, either as a lawyer or as a judicial officer, you'll be wondering whether you have the sufficient muscle to bring together to a cohesive working team, everybody in the team. And I know that's why we have more applicants for deputy CJ. On the other hand, our male colleagues are so bold that even when you are absolutely not qualified, you will apply. You see? We must remember that. And you can see that. We don't need to go into details, but you can see that. But what the message we are saying, we have a collective duty as a nation to encourage women to apply for all posts.